So this is going to be a video about how you take the initial call with the client. So let's say you get your lead, you get the client's information, their name, phone number, and email address. So before calling the lead, it's always a good idea to do a quick Google search about their email address. Um, there's a chance you might stumble on their LinkedIn profile. So you will get to know what their designation is, if they're working for any company or not. And one thing that is very important when doing sales over the phone is your tone of voice. That is your representation in front of the client. So the tone of voice needs to be active. You need to convey a certain passion through your tone of voice. Word selection is always very important when speaking with the client. So now you've gotten the lead, you have prepared yourself mentally that, okay, I'm going to make a first call with the client. This is my first impression towards the client, or this is the interaction that will give the client a first impression. And as the cliche stands, first impression is the last impression. It is a cliche because it's true. So now you've gotten the lead, you've prepared yourself mentally that, okay, now I'm going to call this client. You've done a little Google research by Googling their email address or their name. So now, before you make the call, you need to basically decide that this is going to be a long call, at least 15 to 20 minutes, max 30 minutes to 35 to 40 minutes. Because if the client is willing to speak to you for 20 to 25 minutes, that means the client is interested. Then in that 20 to 25 or that conversation, you will go ahead and probe more, um, and get more information from the client. Obviously, you need to be able to judge if right now is a good time to speak with the client or not, if they're responding correctly to you. Are they just saying, yes, okay, or are they actually engaging with you properly? So now you've called the client, they pick up, you go ahead, introduce yourself. Hi, Mike, this is Taha. I'm calling from Code Brew Labs. We got an inquiry from your end that you're looking to develop an e-commerce application. The client will say yes. So then you go ahead and open up that, okay, fantastic. I wanted to basically go ahead and have a call with you so that I can introduce myself and my company properly to you, right? So now that the client is on the phone with you, you need to make some kind of a human connection with the client. You don't need to give off this vibe that it's a robot, or you're just saying something that you have practiced or said over 100 times, even though that is the case. So that's where your personality comes in as a sales guy, or sales girl. Every salesperson will need to find their own hook, or a way to bring their own personality into the conversation. Never be afraid to joke around in a proper manner. Um, Also, one more thing, before you make the call, the country the client is in, like when you start your day, if you're working in the US region, when you come to office, open any newspaper website like the Washington Journal or New York Times, and see what are the top headlines over there and just go through them. It'll take you 5 to 10 minutes max, so that you have some things to talk about with the client. Say, for example, any sports event is happening, or recently, I'll give you this example. It's all over social media. The world, or America at least, is going crazy over this. Like, there's a fast food chain called Popeyes. They've launched a chicken sandwich, and people are like lining up to basically go ahead and eat that sandwich. um, so knowing these little things, that will give you more things to talk with the client about. So now you're talking to someone. So how do you bring in your own personality, or how do you tell a story, right? to a client, because a good salesperson is a good storyteller. That's for sure. So I'll give you my example. Um, we or I myself do sales in the GCC region. So if I am speaking with someone in Saudi Arabia, and even though, and this I have been applying since I've been doing sales over the phone. So say for example, I am speaking with someone in Saudi Arabia. Um, so I'll tell them my story, right? So my story is that I was born in Saudi Arabia in a city called Al Jazan. I lived there till I was 13. Then I moved to Pakistan. So if you're speaking with someone from Saudi, you'll go ahead and you will basically, that person will feel more comfortable with you. If I'm speaking to someone in Dubai over the phone, how do I connect this with my story? How do I connect this story with the person in Dubai? So I'll tell them again. I, was born in Saudi Arabia. It was really hot over there. It's really hot in UAE as well. What's the weather like right now? Right? Normal thing about the weather, conversation about the weather. Anyway, again, every salesperson will have to find out what works for them, and this will take a lot of tries. So don't be shy about finding your own niche or finding your own thing. Experiment, but in a proper way, in a professional way. So now that you've had like a 5-minute conversation about yourself or the client, asked him how's he's doing, what's the weather like, how's the market in the country that they're in. So now you introduce yourself and your company. How do you introduce your company? I'll tell you how I introduce Code Brew Labs to clients when I approach them on the first call in UAE or in Kuwait or Saudi Arabia. So I tell them that Code Brew Labs has been operational in UAE for about 4 years. It's an Indian company based in Chandigarh. Over there in our office in India, we have about 300 designers and developers under our roof, under our payroll. So all the work we do is done in-house, nothing is outsourced. Besides these two locations, we have an office in Mexico, one office in the US, and we have opened an office in Toronto as well. So we're a multinational company. And in UAE, we've worked with clients such as Zajil, such as Chalhoub Group, or AW Rustamani Group. Now, even though the biggest clients of ours are enterprises, we aim to work with all kinds of clients, be it individuals, small to medium businesses, or enterprises. If you're talking to an individual, you mold this story so that it connects with the individual more by telling them that, we love working with individuals because the possibility of long-term business is much higher with individuals as compared to an enterprise. If we work with an individual, our goal is to make them happy with our services so that we keep working with them for the next 3-4 years, where we develop the solution for you, where we maintain it, we upgrade it. Whereas with enterprises, they have their own IT teams. And once the project is over, and then we part ways with them. So, and if you're speaking with a enterprise, mold your answer towards the enterprise. How that, we love working with enterprises, and your company itself is a very reputable company. So if we get this project on board, this will be a great addition to our portfolio, and thus helping us get more projects in the future. So now, if you're speaking with a client on the phone, you've introduced your company, you've told them the clients that you worked for verbally, ask them, are you in front of a computer right now? There's a high chance they'll say yes. Take them to your company's website. Show them the other clients that are listed officially on your website. And there are some big clients over there. So that will create an impression as well, right? A salesperson's job is to make the client dream or communicate with them in such a way that they think that, okay, now I'm speaking with the right person. If I have a dream to have $1 million business, this person sounds like he knows what he's talking about, right? So you show off your portfolio, you give them a link or the name of some app that we've done, right? Take them to the Google Play Store page for that app or the App Store page. show them that this is an application that we've done. Make up a story, uh, an example of how you make up a story, right? Um, so there's this app that I use. No company that I've ever worked with has developed this app. I don't know who has developed it, but it's a tool that I found through some research and I use it to my advantage. So it's an app called Sammy Dress. So I show the client that app. I make up the story that this is a Lebanese lady's business. She has been working with us for 3 years. We've done the social media marketing, development, everything for this application. And when she started off, she was only operating in UAE, but now she's operating in France, Portugal, and Spain. So, but this is me bluffing, right? So if you're bluffing, you need to be confident and you need to analyze that the bluff does not backfire. So now you've shown your portfolio, you've built a shining image of your company that these guys, at least in Southeast Asia or in Asia, are one of the top companies out there for app development. Then you explain your process to them. For example, right now I'm gathering your requirements. After I have your requirements sorted, I will request my team to prepare a proposal. I will send you that proposal. I will give you a call. I would like the opportunity to present that proposal to you over the phone, discuss each and every feature with you. Now, this is a very important thing. When you're discussing a proposal with the client, a lot of other things come into mind as well. Um, One thing that comes to mind is that when you're discussing a feature, you can brainstorm with the client that maybe we should add this feature, maybe we should add that feature. That if you are new in this industry, you will learn with time. And if you know the flow of a standard e-commerce application, you can identify that okay, this thing is missing in the proposal. If I suggest this to the client, I think it will add value. Things like these. Um, and also, let's see what else. So you explain them that you'll now send the proposal, present it over the phone. Then you tell them about the process as well. So that, let's say, for example, you see the proposal, you like a proposal, the pricing is good, and we reach an agreement. So then what's going to happen is now here you're already working towards the closing. You're telling the client things like that when we start work, when we're working for you, when we're doing this project together. So you're already using these kinds of words. So you're putting an idea in their head that this guy really wants to work with me. So you will tell them that, okay, once we sign the deal, the formalities of the payment and the contract are out of the way, the first step we're going to do, the first thing we're going to do, and again, this is again a bluff. Um, this is not something we do. It's not in a contract or a proposal. Never hurts to tell the client. So you tell them the first thing we're going to do, we're going to analyze the market, the country you want to operate in. We will see what's the mentality of the people in that country, what kind of applications do they use the most, and keeping your idea and your industry in mind, what is your target audience? Say, for example, it's an e-commerce application that sells women's apparel. So you can tell them that, okay, so your target audience would be people or girls from the age of 19 upwards to the age of 45. So we will analyze their behaviors. We will have focus groups where we will roll out information that we've compiled. And based on that, we will go ahead and come up with a strategy. We will also analyze your competitors. Say, for example, if it's an e-commerce marketplace, Souk or Amazon, we will analyze them. We will analyze when they went live and the first 3 months, how many users they had. And based on that, we will come up with projections, right? And then we will come up with a design strategy. Based on that strategy, we will prepare wireframes, show them to you, get your feedback on them, because it is your vision, the client's vision, that we are executing. So it is very important for us to be in line with that vision. Tell them that it's like that you're the captain of the ship, we're your crew, we're working for you, and everything we do, we run it by you. Until and unless we get your approval, we don't move to the next stage, right? And once the designs are approved, then we go into development, develop 50% of the application, show it to you. We again show it to you to get an exact idea of where you stand, how happy you are with it. if you don't like it, if you do like it, and if you have any feedback or not. Then once you approve that, we develop the complete product. Again, show it to you one final time before making it live on the app stores. Now, now you've explained the process, right? And when the client is on your website, explain Code Brew's edge to them. So what is Code Brew's edge? Allurive is one of our edges, the design studio that we have. You can tell the client this in this sort of a way that other companies, how they operate is basically, for example, they have people who are designers. They've done like a 3 month or 6 month diploma in Photoshop or Illustrator, whereas we have proper design architects on board. These people have done their formal education in design. They live and breathe design. They come up with logical designs that enhance the user experience. Logical designs, how? For example, this is the phone. It's this big, right? So when you're holding it in one hand, you only have your thumb free. So the thumb can only go to certain places on the phone. So the buttons need to be placed in such a way that when the user is using it with one hand, they have a good user experience. They don't have to basically bring in the second hand into the picture, or stretch out their thumb, things like that. You will have to figure out on your own what you will how you will play around with this approach anyway. So you've explained our design edge to them. Show them the Allurive video on our website. When they see actual people working, it'll create more trust. Tell them about Retainalytics. Tell them that, what we do is we analyze user behavior. How do we analyze user behavior? Let's say, for example, your app goes live. 100 people click on the app's link. Out of those 150 download the app. Out of those 50, 30 register. Out of those 30, 20 browse the products, and maybe 10 or 5% end up doing some kind of business with you. So we analyze and we suggest you ways that how can we capture that 50% user bracket or 70% user bracket. And then tell them about, we do market research, we do competitor analysis, we have focus groups, yada, yada, yada. But now, so if you're speaking with the client over the phone, it's very important to get those initial, on the first call, 25, 20 minutes, get those initial first moments in, and also to, set up a time and an opportunity for the second call where you explain the scope to them, where you present it to them. That also gives you more phone time with the client. At the end of the day, if a client is doing, say, for example, a $10,000 project with you, $10,000 in any currency in any country is a good amount. So they're only trusting you on your voice and the connection they have with you. So the tone of voice is very important, and you need to get as much phone time with them as possible to go ahead and basically build a connection with them, gain their trust, share examples of our work with them, have them download it. You open the same app on your phone, take them through the entire app, and things like this, right? Also, it's very important that when you schedule that time for the second phone call, you be punctual yourself. You call the client exactly at that time. Yeah. So now you have explained the process, you have discussed the idea. Now, what else can you do to find out if this client is interested? Okay, they've spent 20, 25 minutes on the phone with you. Maybe they just have a lot of time. In countries like America or even in UAE, people usually, live alone, especially in America. People live alone, they're lonely. So they'll probably talk to you if you're making good conversation for 20, 25 minutes, right? But then how do you find out that this person is actually interested? After having the entire call, understanding the idea, tell them, okay, great, fantastic. I just need one favor from you. Can you write me an email, a 3, 4 line email explaining your idea in the simplest words, so that when I am discussing it with my business analysts to have the proposal created, I don't miss out on anything. I speak with 20, 30 people on a daily basis, and I don't like things to get lost in conversation. So if they send you that email, then that reinforces the idea that yes, this client is interested. right? Um, so another thing is that once you've introduced your company, you've told the client about yourself, your organization, please do not be afraid to ask what the client does for a living as well. You can pitch it now because the thought process behind this is that you've told the client about yourself, your company for 10 minutes, 15 minutes max, right? Or 10 minutes. Now, if you ask the client about themselves, chances are they will not go ahead and not tell you. They will tell you properly what they do if they're a businessman, if they have a normal 9 to 5 job. If they say, okay, I'm a businessman, ask them, oh, what kind of business are you into? They'll say, I have a restaurant business. Oh, how many locations do you have? I have one. Oh, what kind of cuisine do you guys serve? We usually serve, authentic Italian cuisine. Tell them, wow, that's fantastic. I love a good, authentic Italian pizza myself, right? Um, that way you'll be able to gauge if the client has money or not, if they can actually afford it. So if they say, no, I work a normal job, then okay, what do you do? If it's a normal 9 to 5 job, what's your designation? They'll tell you that, oh, I'm an executive or I'm a director or I'm a general manager. Then ask them, okay, perfect. So are you the only person who is involved in this? Or are there other people involved in the decision making process as well? This way you'll get to know if there's one decision maker or multiple decision makers. Um, and try to put yourself in the client's shoes and try to ask them, why do you want to develop this application? Why do you want to come into this digital um, way of doing business? So the more you probe, the better idea you'll get of your client, right? So, and if, let's say, for example, you're speaking with a personal assistant or just a gatekeeper, then get the requirements for them and request them that, okay, I would like to have a call with the decision maker or your management, and try to get some phone time with them as well. Now, how will you find out if the client is willing to spend, around say 10, $15,000? So a good way of pitching this question, and this I do myself, is that tell the client that the starting price of our custom applications is around ten to $12,000. So if the client says okay, or if the client says what, 12 to $10,000, that's a little too much, or if you sense a little hesitation in their voice, that way you'll be able to get an idea if they're willing to spend or not. So let's say they hesitate and they tell you that, wow, that's a little too much. Then you go ahead and pitch our white label solutions to them. And okay, no problem. We've been in this market for a while, and we have come to this discovery that not everyone can go ahead and afford, 10 to 12,000 US dollars. And usually people are looking to test the waters with an MVP. So that's why we went ahead and we've spent 2 years of our times and our finances where we've come up with these white label solutions. They offer you all the core features and functions that are there out there with your competitors. Uh, but since they're already ready made, we just change the design and give them to you, and you only pay $100 a month, where we maintain the entire platform for you as well. We keep rolling out new features periodically, and that'll only cost you $5,000 to $6,000. So that's a way of getting an idea of the client's budget. Um, that's pretty much it for the first initial call or the first 1, 2 calls. I hope this was helpful.